Greed, ambition, and a thirst for power led a group of young men down a dangerous path. In the early 1980s, Los Angeles saw the rise of the Billionaire Boys Club, a group of young men hungry for wealth and power. This is their wild, high-octane story. Joe Hunt, born Joseph Gamsky, was the mastermind. Smart, charming, and ambitious, Joe believed he could outsmart the system and get rich quick. He gathered his old prep school buddies and other eager young men, promising them untold riches through high-stakes investments. Dean Carney was Joe's right-hand man, equally ambitious and ready to dive into Joe's grand plans. Together, they pulled in members drawn by the lure of fast money and the glamorous life. The club operated in secrecy, making it even more enticing. Joe's strategy was to create high-yield investment schemes with promises of massive returns. He used his charisma to convince investors to throw their money into the club. The members quickly adopted a flashy lifestyle, driving luxury cars, wearing designer clothes, and partying in exclusive clubs. They were living the 1980s dream. But behind the glitz, the Billionaire Boys Club was built on lies. Joe's schemes were elaborate Ponzi setups, using new investors' money to pay off earlier ones. As the money flowed in, Joe and his associates continued to project an image of success, while the reality was far more precarious. Joe Hunt grew up in a modest household, but his mind was anything but modest. He was a financial prodigy with a vision. He rebranded himself from Joseph Gamsky to Joe Hunt, a name he thought more fitting for a billionaire. Hunt was always the smartest guy in the room, and he knew it. His confidence was magnetic. Joe started small, convincing his friends from the prestigious Harvard School for Boys that he had a foolproof way to make them all rich. The pitch was simple: pool their money, invest in his surefire schemes, and watch their fortunes grow exponentially. It wasn't long before they were seeing returns, on paper at least. The reality was that Joe was using new investments to pay off earlier ones, classic Ponzi style. Dean Carney, Joe's lieutenant, was a key player. He managed the day-to-day operations and helped recruit new members. Dean was the ultimate wingman, loyal, sharp, and always ready to back Joe's play. They were the dynamic duo, cutting deals and spinning tales of wealth and success. The club's members were living the high life. They threw extravagant parties, complete with expensive champagne, designer drugs, and a constant stream of beautiful people. They bought fancy cars, rented lavish mansions, and wore the latest fashions. To outsiders, they looked like they had it all. One night, Dean threw a party at a rented Beverly Hills mansion. The house was filled with celebrities, models, and wealthy investors. The music was loud, the drinks were flowing, and the air was thick with ambition and excess. Joe made his rounds, charming everyone in sight, selling the dream with every word. Joe's genius lay in his ability to manipulate people. He understood their desires, their fears, and used that knowledge to keep the money flowing in. He promised his investors the world, guaranteed returns, exclusive insider tips, and a chance to be part of something big. He played the role of the financial wizard perfectly, never showing a crack in his confidence. But cracks were starting to show behind the scenes. Joe needed bigger and bigger investments to keep the scheme afloat. The pressure was immense, and the stakes were getting higher. The lavish lifestyle they had built was expensive, and the costs were mounting. Enter Ron Levin, a smooth-talking con artist with deep pockets. Levin was supposed to be their ticket to the big leagues. Joe convinced him to invest heavily in the club. For a while, it seemed like things were finally going their way. Levin's money gave them a temporary reprieve, a chance to keep the dream alive. Then Levin disappeared. The official story was that he had skipped town to avoid paying a huge debt, but whispers of foul play began to circulate. Levin's body was never found, but evidence suggested he had been murdered. The authorities zeroed in on Joe and his inner circle. The investigation was intense. Detectives dug into every aspect of the club's operations, uncovering the fraud and deception at its core. They found records of fake investments, forged documents, and a trail of lies that led straight to Joe. The glamorous facade of the Billionaire Boys Club was crumbling. Joe Hunt was arrested and charged with Levin's murder. The trial was a media sensation. Joe Hunt, the boy genius turned financial wunderkind, was now a prime suspect in a murder case. Details of the club's operations were laid bare, revealing the intricate web of deceit that Joe had spun. Dean Carney, facing his own charges, flipped on Joe and provided crucial testimony in exchange for immunity. The trial was a spectacle. Joe sat in the courtroom, still exuding the confidence that had drawn so many to him. But the evidence was damning. Witnesses testified about the lavish parties, the fake investments, and the ruthless lengths Joe went to in order to maintain his empire. The jury saw through the charm and found Joe guilty. Joe Hunt Blunt was convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison without parole. The Billionaire Boys Club was dismantled, its members scattered, their dreams of easy riches shattered. Dean Carney disappeared into the witness protection program, leaving behind the high-flying lifestyle for a life of anonymity. The rise and fall of the Billionaire Boys Club is a roller coaster of high-flying ambition and the dark side of chasing quick riches. It's a wild tale of how far people will go for money and the price they ultimately pay. It's a testament to the seductive power of ambition and the dangerous allure of the American dream.